Have you ever wondered how sexual interactions can be manipulated by different personality types? Today, we're venturing into the shadowy corners of the psyche, exploring how the interplay of desire and manipulation can twist the most intimate of human interactions. This isn't a journey for the faint of heart, but it's a crucial one, intended to shed light on the darker aspects of human behavior. First, we'll look at the Libido-Centric Manipulator, a personality type that uses high sexual drive as a tool for manipulation, often disregarding consent and boundaries in their relentless pursuit of gratification. Next, we step into the world of the Romantic Deceiver, individuals who hide behind a facade of love and intimacy. They manipulate others by feigning deep emotional connections, exploiting trust and vulnerability for personal gain. The Adventurous Manipulator is our third personality type. These individuals exploit their partner's openness to new experiences, often coercing them into risky or non-consensual activities, all under the guise of novelty and excitement. We then turn to the conservative controller, who uses societal norms and expectations to manipulate and control their partners. They may weaponize guilt or shame, restricting their partner's freedom in sexual expression. The Sensual Exploiter is next on our list. This personality type uses physical pleasure and sensory experiences as a means of manipulation, often overshadowing concerns for their partner's well-being and consent. Finally, we'll explore the asexual Aromantic predator. While asexuality and aromanticism are valid orientations, some individuals may use these as a guise for manipulation, exploiting others' misconceptions or ignorance to deceive and manipulate. This exploration into the manipulation of sexual interactions by different personality types is not meant to vilify or stigmatize any one group, but rather to shed light on harmful behaviors that can occur within the realm of desire. Recognizing these tactics is the first step towards resisting them. As we delve into these personality types, keep in mind that these behaviors are harmful and destructive and should not be tolerated. First, we have the Libido-Centric Manipulator, a personality type defined by their high sexual drive. This type of manipulator uses their intense libido as an instrument of control, taking advantage of others' desires for their own satisfaction. They might resort to seduction tactics, dangling the promise of sexual fulfillment as a means to wield power and influence. Imagine John, a charismatic individual with a magnetic personality. People are drawn to him, captivated by his passion and intensity. But beneath the surface, John is a libido-centric manipulator. He employs his charm and promises of sexual gratification to control his partners, manipulating their desires to serve his own needs. A libido-centric manipulator's relentless pursuit of sexual encounters can lead to a disregard for consent and boundaries. Their partners may feel used, their desires exploited for the manipulator's pleasure. The libido-centric manipulator exploits others' desires for their own sexual gratification, often disregarding consent and boundaries. They're a stark reminder of the darker side of desire, a testament to the potential danger of unchecked libido. Next up is the Romantic Deceiver, an individual who manipulates through false emotions and intimacy. This personality type is a master of illusion, conjuring deep connections where none truly exist. They express a burning desire for closeness, creating a mirage of shared emotions that can be deeply compelling. Imagine for a moment a scenario where a person, let's call them Alex, finds themselves captivated by the romantic overtures of a partner, only to discover that these expressions of affection were merely a means to an end. Behind the sweet nothings, the tender moments, and the promises of undying love, Alex's partner was carefully constructing a narrative to maintain control and exploit Alex's trust. This is the modus operandi of the Romantic Deceiver. They manipulate not through brute force, but by exploiting the very fabric of human connection, love. The Romantic Deceiver uses professed love and intimacy to exploit their partner's vulnerability and trust. Then we have the Adventurous Manipulator, a personality type that exploits their partner's openness to new experiences. At first glance, this individual may seem thrilling, enticing their victims with the promise of novelty and excitement. However, beneath the surface, a darker motive lurks. They manipulate their partner's curiosity, coercing them into participating in risky or non-consensual sexual activities. Consider the case of Jane, a young woman who found herself drawn to the charm and spontaneity of her partner, only to realize that her consent and comfort were being systematically disregarded. The adventurous manipulator thrives on pushing boundaries, often ignoring the safety and well-being of their partners. They use the allure of adventure to mask their manipulative tactics, leading their partners into unfamiliar and often uncomfortable territories. The adventurous manipulator coerces their partners into risky or non-consensual activities, disregarding boundaries and safety. Now let's talk about the conservative controller, an individual who uses societal norms and expectations to manipulate their partners. This character type leverages traditional views on sexuality, using morality as a tool for manipulation. Picture this: John, a conservative controller, might make Jane feel guilty for expressing desires that fall outside the realm of what he deems traditional. John's manipulation doesn't stop there. He uses societal expectations around sexuality to exert control over Jane. This control might manifest as shaming or guilting her for her desires, or making her feel as though her sexual expression is somehow wrong or immoral. This adherence to stringent, traditional values restricts Jane's freedom and autonomy in sexual expression, leading to feelings of repression and resentment. In essence, the conservative controller uses the veil of morality and societal norms to manipulate their partners, creating an environment where guilt and shame become tools for control. The conservative controller uses guilt and shame to control their partners, restricting their freedom in sexual expression. Next, we have the sensual exploiter, a personality type that uses physical pleasure to manipulate and control. The sensual exploiter is an expert at creating an atmosphere of seduction and allure, using sensory experiences to their advantage. They draw their partners into a world of physical pleasure, using it as a tool to gain control and influence. Imagine a scenario where the sensual exploiter invites their partner to a candlelit dinner. The intoxicating aroma of food, the soft glow of candles, the plush feel of velvet under their fingertips. All these sensory experiences are carefully curated to create an environment of vulnerability and surrender. As the night progresses, the sensual exploiter employs sensory stimulation and eroticism to further lure their partner into a state of vulnerability. The focus on sensory gratification can be so overwhelming that it overshadows the need for consent and respect, leading to a dangerous imbalance of power. The sensual exploiter uses sensory stimulation and eroticism to lure their partners into vulnerable states, leading to exploitation and abuse. Finally, we have the asexual aromantic predator, an individual who uses their lack of sexual or romantic attraction as a guise for manipulation. This personality type may exploit others' misunderstandings or ignorance about asexuality and aromanticism to their advantage. Picture this: a person feigning disinterest in romance or sexuality only to exploit the trust and vulnerabilities of those who believe they are in a strictly platonic relationship. This is not a reflection on the asexual or aromantic community, but rather a demonstration of how any aspect of human behavior can be twisted for manipulation. They may use this lack of attraction to create a facade of innocence, masking their predatory behavior beneath the cloak of friendship or platonic relations. Just as with any other predator, their actions are not a result of their identity but their willingness to exploit others for personal gain. The asexual aromantic predator exploits others' misconceptions about asexuality and aromanticism to deceive and manipulate. In conclusion, various personality types exploit different aspects of human sexuality for their own gain. We've explored 6 such dispositions, each with their unique manipulative tactics. The libido-centric manipulator uses their high libido as a tool, exploiting others' desires for their own satisfaction. They might employ seduction tactics and promises of sexual fulfillment to gain control, often disregarding consent and boundaries in their relentless pursuit. The romantic deceiver cloaks their manipulation under the guise of deep emotional connections. They express love to exploit their partner's vulnerability and trust, using their professed emotions and desire for intimacy as a chess piece in a game of control. The adventurous manipulator capitalizes on their partner's openness to new experiences, often coercing them into risky or non-consensual activities. They use the allure of novelty and excitement to manipulate, disregarding boundaries and safety, leading to potentially traumatic experiences. The conservative controller employs societal norms and expectations to control and manipulate. They guilt or shame their partners for expressing sexual desires outside of traditional boundaries, using morality as their tool. This adherence to traditional values can restrict their partner's freedom, leading to feelings of repression and resentment. The sensual exploiter uses sensory experiences and physical pleasure as a means of control. They employ sensory stimulation and eroticism to lure their partners into vulnerable states, often overshadowing concerns for their partner's well-being and consent. And finally, the asexual aromantic predator uses their lack of sexual or romantic attraction as a guise for manipulation. They exploit misconceptions about asexuality and aromanticism, sometimes masking predatory behavior under the guise of friendship or platonic relationships. Each of these personality types manipulates and exploits aspects of human sexuality, disregarding the well-being and autonomy of their partners. In the shadowy realm of dark psychology, it's a stark reminder of the importance of consent, boundaries, and mutual respect in all sexual interactions. It's crucial to recognize and resist these manipulative tactics. Prioritize consent, boundaries, and mutual respect in all sexual interactions. Stay safe, stay aware.